Hey, let's check in with Wilson Logistics. It's Bruce Stockton. He's the COO over there. But Bruce, before we get into things, I have a little trivia question for you based on your past, and we'll see how you do at this one, okay?
All right, I'm ready.
All right. So you went to Missouri Southern State University, correct?
Correct. It
Now,
was a college then, but now they call it a university. So,
all right. Well, Dennis Weaver, the actor, went there, and he stars in one trucking-related movie. Do you know which one it is?
oh, I do not know the name. I know I've seen the movie, but I can't tell you the name.
It's
But he is
Steven.
a Joplin native.
He's Steven Spielberg classic Duel.
Duel. All right, I learned something already today. So,
Well, now it's your turn to teach us a little bit about yourself. Before we jump into the partnership with Locomotion, though, who are you? What's Wilson, and what are you guys doing with Loco?
we've been associated with Locomation since 2020, and at the time we had a large presence in the western 11 states, specifically Pacific Northwest, and run an I-5 corridor. We sold that portion of the company back in December, and now we're focused on the Midwest part of the country, really from traffic lanes from St. Louis down 44 through Springfield, where we're based, Missouri, down 35 through Oklahoma and into Texas. And our interest with Locomation and our excitement about Locomation really deals with predominantly for us uh, what I see it being able to do for the job of operating a commercial motor vehicle. As a driver myself from years ago, and this goes way back, so it tells you my age, back to the mid '80s. Our industry has always talked about a driver shortage, and when I talk to drivers today, especially new drivers or existing drivers in the industry, they say, "Well, Bruce, why would you want to get involved in something that's going to do away with our job?" And that's the furthest thing from the truth. What this type of technology does, and it's really human guided autonomous vehicles. The key word there is human guided. I don't see in the rest of my career or anytime soon that we're going to take the driver out of the truck. But the truck has certainly gotten a lot of technology installed in the truck that requires some training and likely future certifications to be able to operate that autonomous truck. And so the opportunity I see is that our job as drivers is becoming a higher skilled level of a job and a position that, to me, what opportunity that creates for our industry is to attract more people to our industry, where in the last 10 years or so, a lot of the quote unquote experts have said, well, there's just a shortage of drivers, and it's a tough job, and they're gone from home a long period of time, and the lifestyle's not great, and it's kind of been um downplayed. Our careers have been downplayed, and what I see this happening is having to learn this technology, understand the technology, and becoming more of a commercial vehicle operator and less of a driver, because of the autonomous pieces, really makes the job more attractive and more challenging and certainly more technical.
Bruce, all that makes perfect sense, and I agree with you 100%. It's the safety aspects. It's changing the aspect or the technical nature of the job more than it is replacing those drivers. And I don't see it coming anytime soon where there's no drivers that are in there either. Talk about the relationship with Locomation and how important it is to get into these relationships early on, in the early innings, if you will. What are the benefits going back and forth between you two? Because they're getting benefits from this partnership with you as well, right?
Right, exactly. From our side, we're learning and understanding the technology firsthand, and we've seen different phases already in the last 3 years of that technology. We're seeing the improvements. We're seeing early on the shortfalls and what they're able to do with that technology to improve those shortcomings, they're learning from us about the industry because they're highly technical people, and while they employ some drivers in their staff, uh, they're really learning the trucking side of the business from us, and how freight moves around this country and how segmented it still is around this country, that it's not one big pot of freight that's out there that everybody can really pick from, that because there's so many carriers and so many options with direct business with customers, with dedicated business, with brokerage freight that's out there that still sort of clogs the market. It's not one big pot of freight that everybody can just go in and pick from. And when you introduce the autonomous portion into that, uh, then it becomes pretty difficult to understand how are we going to make this autonomous thing work, and some of the benefits of autonomy, some of the efficiencies that are outlined in the plan, not just from Locomation, but any of those companies that are introducing this technology. How are we going to make that happen? And that's where real truckers like people at Wilson Logistics and the other partners that they have aligned themselves with can keep them on the right path and make sure that the technology they're developing is going to make sure that it really works with what we do today and what we're trying to improve on today.
What do you have to do right now to sort of make that happen? Just sort of like internally over at Wilson, because there's probably a lot of carriers out there that want to go on this journey, but it's like, this is a whole scary, brave new world. I don't want to touch it. What does a place like yours have to do? Like, how do you get your drivers ready for something like this?
Well, you have to make the commitment, obviously, and Wilson has made that commitment. And it really starts with making sure that our drivers have the proper training and truly understand the technology. To me, it's no different than when years ago when the Eaton Vorad was introduced to our industry, and now most trucks that fleets are purchasing have radar on them, that helps mitigate forward collision situations, and really starts to technically help the driver be a better driver and be a safer driver. But the driver really needs to understand how that technology works, why it's doing what it's doing, before you just put them in the truck. And I've made that mistake myself. We spend a lot of time at Wilson Logistics with driver training. We have our simulators that we put every driver through and develop a baseline, and then after their on-road training is complete and they're near their testing point, they come back in and they run again on the simulators to see the progress that they've made, or maybe areas that they need more help. And it's the training of the driver that, to us, is going to be key in helping companies like Locomation really be able to make that technology perform well out on the highway.
All makes sense. Bruce, thanks so much for sharing as you go on this journey with Locomation. Thanks for your time today. We got to get out there someday and get in some of these simulators. I'm going to jump in.
Oh, yeah. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
Come to Springfield. We'll put you in a simulator.
Love it.
Whenever
Love it.
you're ready.
That'll be our
There
next
you
trip,
go.
man. Take it easy. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Take care. Have a good time.